All right, we'll continue with questions. We've now been joined by Justin Allgaier. Justin, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you spending some time with us. If you don't mind, as we kind of wait and pull for questions, just give us your thoughts as you head into this playoff run. And I noticed that Harper's been working on your helmet, and you guys are really, getting lined up and ready to go here.
Yeah, it's been obviously really, really cool to get the helmet and get the playoffs started. There's a lot of positives to look forward to the season. And, we've had fast race cars at a lot of these racetracks. And, we feel like that going into these playoffs, we've kind of peaked the right time. We're in good position, and we've got a lot of really good racetracks coming up for us in the playoffs. So, it's important to not only, put ourselves in good position week in and week out, but, to try to make our way into Phoenix and go for a shot at that Final Four. And it's a big year, obviously 75th anniversary of NASCAR, and all those little details that would mean a lot whenever it comes to winning a championship. So I think that you got 12 drivers right now that all 12 of us really want to have that opportunity, want to go for it, and ultimately one of us is going to hold that beautiful trophy, but we're all wanting to.
All right, now we'll continue with questions from the media, and to kick us off, we'll go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Hey, Justin, good to have you on with us today.
Thanks.
Can you just kind of give us your thoughts about, after so many years with Jason Burdett, how's the, new relationship going? And could this be the impetus that changes things once you get down to crunch time?
I don't know if a lot of people realize how big of an undertaking what happened at the end of last year really was. I mean, to go into Phoenix and to have 3 of the Final Four and to not come home with a championship was really disappointing. And I think that was the catalyst for what we've done at our shop for 2023. We've got 4 drivers with new crew chiefs, new mechanics, new engineers. Everybody's really kind of shaking up the game. And, I've had a great deal of success over the last number of years with Jason Burdett, and still have a great relationship with Jason. Obviously, he's still part of the Junior Motorsports family. One of the things that I told somebody earlier today was, I feel like with Jason still being there and with the ability to have the cohesiveness that we do in our shop, I didn't really lose anything when we changed over. I feel like we gained with Jim coming in and still having the good relationship. I mean, he and Jason have a great relationship. They talk, daily, and they really work on, how to make our whole program better. So it's been cool for me that I still, I get to kind of have my cake and eat it too. If you look at it that way, I still have Jason around and still have him as somebody that I can lean career, and is somebody that I get along with really, really well. And he's, kind of added to what our program needs. And so it's been really good. And, I'm looking forward to going for a championship. I think in these high pressure, high stress opportunities, you hope that it goes your way. The
Championship.
Listen, if my career ended today, I'd be perfectly happy with the things that I've accomplished. Do I want to win a championship? Absolutely. On my to-do list as being number 1, absolutely. But I also know how hard it is. Look at all the drivers that have been, in the opportunity, and some of my heroes have never won a championship, right? And that's not to say that they weren't successful or didn't have great careers. It's just it's just a testament to how hard this sport is and how difficult it is, especially in today's day and time with the way that the schedule is and the way that it plays out. Anything can and will happen. And some of my best seasons, we've not even been close to going for a championship. And so you never really know what to expect. But I can tell you, if I'm stage come Phoenix, it will be a surreal moment, and it'll be something that I'll cherish forever. And if I don't, I'll be happy for whoever wins that championship and go to work again to try to make the opportunity to try to do it again next season.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question will go to Matt Weaver. And then after Matt, we'll go to Stephen Toronto. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for taking time today, Justin. Kind of piggybacking off of Lee's question, this format has a lot of, I don't want to say randomness, but it's a small sample size, right? So it's
Right.
got some fluctuation built into it. So on one hand, you could argue that the formats maybe cost you a couple of chances to where maybe over a season long you could win a championship. But on the other hand, with junior motorsports the last long years, actually, you've got a chance to win the championship every year. So is there kind of a balancing way of looking at it that it's cost you some chances, it's probably giving you some chances too?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you have to try to rise to the occasion, whether it's a season long points battle or if it's these 7 races or if it's one race, 5 races, doesn't really matter. You have to kind of position yourself for that. But I think that it is unique, this year with the schedule being considerably different, I would say, than what it's been in years past. It's gonna make for kind of a fun, exciting, different approach to these playoffs. Somebody asked me earlier, they said, with all the experience you have, do you feel like that helps you? And I said, no, if anything, I think sometimes maybe it hurts me because, um, I feel like I've learned a lot of ways to not win one. I haven't figured out how to win one yet. So, we're going to keep, throwing darts at a dartboard and trying to figure out what it's going to take to try to win this year. But I do feel like there are times in my career where I have wished that it would have been the season long points. I think 2018 comes to mind. We won a bunch of races and won the regular season championship and didn't even make it into the Final Four, come postseason. So, we definitely have to stay on our A game. But I think that that's what makes this playoff format so unique and so interesting is it's not about what you've done all year. It's about buckling down when the playoffs start, having all of these races go the way that you want them to go, and ultimately having a little bit of luck. You're going to have speed, but you're going to have a little bit of luck to go along with it and, put yourself in good position. And I think we got the team that we can do that with.
And then a big picture Xfinity Series question. You've had the good fortune of driving a lot of different cars over your career arc, the Xfinity cars, Cup cars. Drivers all universally say they love this platform and where it's at right now. So I'm curious, what all goes into this being such a driver beloved car?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that aerodynamically, the car doesn't have a lot of downforce. It doesn't have a lot of grip, and you're kind of sliding around week in and week out. And I think as a race car driver, you want as much control in your hands as you can get. Are there places that are still aero dependent? Are there places that are still car dependent? Absolutely. But this car has really evolved into a car that is difficult to drive. There are times that maybe it's not even fun to drive because of how difficult that is. But I think that, as drivers, we all want to be able to rise to the occasion and try to give our teams the best opportunity that we can. And, I don't know that this is slipping and sliding around like it was in the late 80s, early 90s. Like, some people want the racing to be back like, but, I also remember back then, you might get 2 or 3 cars on the lead lap and not always great racing, right? We remember the good parts about some of the old, but we don't always remember the bad. I do feel like that there's been a lot of advancements that we've made in the sport over these last, 5-10 years that have made it a lot of fun and made it very interesting and unique. But, it's also increased the parity of the Xfinity Series. I mean, I know on the Cup side right now, we talk about parity with the next gen car, but really when you look at the Xfinity Series, the amount of teams that have come in and have built incredible programs, the drivers that have come in, I mean, I look at the list of drivers right now in 2023 and I just go, man, it's an incredible group of talented race car drivers, both young and old and experienced and rookies. So, I think that that's been something for me that's been very fun is to see what our series looks like right now and what it's going to look like, as we move into these playoffs.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, Stephen, go ahead. Next, we'll go to Jordan. Go ahead, Stephen.
Sorry about that, Amanda. Justin, looking at the Xfinity Series all-time wins list, with your next victory, you'll be tied with Tommy Ellis and Sam Ard at 22, and then with 3 more, you'll be tied with Tommy Houston and Dale Earnhardt Jr. When you think about your career and you think about some of the other drivers who have made their careers in the Xfinity Series, like Ard, like Houston, like Jeff Green, Larry Pearson, Randy LaJoy, right now, where do you feel like your career stacks up?
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot different today than it probably was then. Um, I have the utmost respect for all the drivers you just mentioned, and I think right now I'm tied with Dale Sr. and with Harry Gant, two drivers that I would have never ever have put my name in the same room with, right? So I definitely think that it's been a wild ride and something that's been really, really cool. As you mentioned, I mean, Sam, I look at that name and I just it's an incredible history. And all of those names really have been guys that, I've respected and I've looked up to, and it would be cool to keep working my way up the list. It would be cool to tie the boss man at our shop, Dale Jr. It'd be cool to at least get to his number. But if I look at my career and I say another win never comes, I'm still really proud of all 21 that we've had. I mean, I can look back at every one of them and I remember key details about each one, and they've all meant something special to me. And I think that as we move forward, any more victories from this point on will do the same. They're going to mean a lot. Um, I don't know that one is necessarily any more special than the others, but every one of these victories, I've gone through droughts and haven't won, and it makes you realize how much you appreciate each and every one of them. And I'm looking forward to the next opportunity, and if it comes in these playoffs, it'll be that much sweeter. But I can tell you that if it comes to Phoenix, and we're in that Final Four, that one will for sure take the cake over all the rest of them if we're able to win that one.
You are tied with Harry again, Dale Sr., but when a young driver comes up the ranks, everyone always thinks about being an all-time great at the highest level of stock car racing, that being the Cup Series. But there's a lot of how should I say this? What pride do you take in being able to say that I'm one of the great drivers of my era or of all time at the Busch Series nationwide Xfinity Series level? How does that differ?
It's funny. My very first race at Charlotte in 2008, there was 62 cars, I think, and I think 28 of those guys that were attempting that race were full-time Cup Series drivers, right? And I've had my fair share of racing with Cup Series drivers, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Obviously, had the opportunity to go to the Cup Series and run. And I think one of the things that's interesting for me is just the place in life where I'm at. I realize on the Cup side how valuable it is to be in an A-level car and to be up front. You're going to have to be with good people and have good relationships and be in a top tier car. That opportunity has not been afforded to me, and I'm not sad about that by any stretch. I just haven't had the opportunity to sit in a car that I've filled in for cars, but in a full-time sense, not sat in cars that had the budgets or the funding to be able to go out there and to compete for wins. And while that's disappointing, I've had a great relationship with everybody at Junior Motorsports, and to have that opportunity to come back, to find a place and a home, to have a great sponsor like Brent Professional Agriculture that has supported me unwaveringly through these last number of years. I mean, that's special. And, would I love to be back on the Cup side and to win races on the Cup side? Absolutely. But when I look at the talent level and I look at what the Xfinity Series does week in and week out, whether that be media numbers and TV, and it's still an amazing series and still something that deserves probably a lot more credit than what it really gets, on the grand scale of things. And so, I'm proud to be part of a great race team. I'm proud to be winning races still, and we're going to keep battling and hopefully, if that time ever comes to get back into a Cup car, I'll relish in it and go try to win races no different than I do right now. But running good on Saturdays and making my sponsors and my team and my family proud is still something that's really important to me.
Gotcha. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan, we'll take our final question from you.
Hey, Justin, appreciate the time. I'm kind of following up on a point you made earlier. You said that you think sometimes maybe your experience works against you in this format, and I'm curious to hear about that because you hear a lot of times about how experience is such an advantage. So why is experience, a disadvantage?
Well, I think sometimes with experience, you get set in your ways, right? You kind of get locked into what you think is going to happen or how you think a race is going to play out. And sometimes in that scenario, you almost put yourself in a box, right? And I think some of these younger drivers that come in maybe have a little bit different outlook or expectation of what they're going to expect. And I think sometimes it's easy to kind of come in and just go, I'm just gonna, go for it and see what happens. And I think as a veteran and somebody that's got experience, you sometimes come in a little more tentatively. You maybe don't put yourself in some positions that you would even during the regular season to try to win races, because that it's maybe sometimes being safe is a better route, but winning races is really ultra important. And if you can win a race in each round and lock your way into Phoenix, it's a heck of a lot easier than it is to just point your way in. So I think sometimes with experience comes reservation. I got plenty of gray hair. You can see it right here. I got plenty of gray hair to prove that I've done my fair share of crashing, and it does hurt, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I think that you just race differently than what you would if you're kind of young and tenacious, and you have a little bit different outlook on what it takes to be successful. I also don't know, how many more opportunities I'm going to have at this, right? You never know when that next opportunity is going to come to have a shot at going for a championship. So you try to almost hold it in close and not let it go a little bit. And I think sometimes just throwing caution to the wind maybe would be a better approach. I don't know, but I still feel like I have the talent. I still feel like I have the hunger and the want, and I can still throw down if I need to a little bit if I feel that day calls for it. So I think that you just got to manage the day the best you can, and hopefully you do the right thing on that day and put yourself in good position.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Justin, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend in Bristol.
Thanks, guys. I always appreciate it.